I wanted something that was masculine. I wanted something that was a bit urban, but also a bit of the kind of Bali vibes. And so that's kind of the different elements that we aimed to bring together. I also wanted the space itself to have a bit of a kind of artistic element to it. And so one example of that is we've got this beautiful feature wall in the living area where we've actually kind of chipped away, and you can see some of the exposed brick and some of the kind of raw materials from the original unit. And so I think that's a good example of kind of how, both with the preservation of the original unit and then how we've kind of like adapted that to kind of stay with this kind of modern and masculine vibe. Hi, I'm James and I work in the tech industry. So I was really drawn to the Tiong Bahru area, given its sort of mix of old and new in Singapore. So I think you have a lot of the sort of traditional Singaporean vibe. You've got a great hawker center, you've got some of the old HDB estates, and then you've also got some of this kind of unique cafe culture, nice shops, great places to grab brunch. And so I think the kind of mixed old and new is really nice for me. This is a 4-room walk-up apartment in Tiong Bahru. It's 998 square feet, and I've been living here for 3 years. This home was built more than 50 years ago. There were 2 key elements that actually really drew me to this home and this space. Number one is the unit itself. The very unique shape of the unit, sort of a wedge-shaped, almost like a slice of pizza or a slice of pie. And also the size. A lot of the newer units in Singapore are actually a bit smaller, and so the fact that some of the older units are a bit larger presented a really unique opportunity to sort of play with the space. Thinking about the uniqueness of the neighborhood, sort of the old meets new, you've got the cafe culture, you've got the hawker culture, and as I thought about that, I also wanted to bring some of that into the home. There was an opportunity to kind of modernize it through the renovation that we did, but there was also an opportunity to keep some of the more historic elements and some of the character of the home, which I think made this particularly unique space. The entryway was heavily inspired by the wrought iron gates that you see on the front of a lot of Tiong Bahru units. So we took that inspiration and actually used it for the front door. We removed the gate entirely, but instead we sort of imprinted that design on the door itself. So the material is a Corten rusty steel, and what's really interesting about it is it actually kind of ages and weathers with time, so it maintains that character over time. I also loved, in the original unit, there's a curve when you enter, and so if you were to go straight, you enter the study, and if you were to turn, you enter sort of the master bedroom and the main living area. So I wanted to preserve that original curve as part of the layout. That was, I guess, another element that was really important. So the base of the curve is actually concrete, and in order to make that curve more visually interesting, we also added wooden dowels to the front, and then those were painted with sort of a concrete gray color. On top of that, you've then got this beautiful tube light sort of in the center of the curve, as well as a backlit space up top. And so I think that really kind of amplifies the curve itself and makes that part of the home more visually interesting. When I walk into the home, I immediately turn right, and there's a bench against the wall where I can sit down and take off my shoes. This bench also doubles as a storage unit for the shoes themselves. I wanted the corridor to kind of present a nice opening into the broader living space. From that point of view, there's a nice design element to it, and in particular, you see this display niche on the left-hand side. You have raw travertine, part of that, which really gives you this unique character and also kind of reflects the light behind it. And then you've got some storage space above and below there as well. In the main living room, the display shelf took its reference from scaffolding and therefore has an open structure. The open structure is really interesting because it allows you to see the wall behind the shelf, and that wall is an interesting design element in and of itself, in the way that it has been stripped down, and you can see some of the original brick and some of the design of the wall itself, which I think adds to the character of the unit. Another element that's really interesting and really fun about this shelf unit is the swivel TV. So the swivel TV can rotate all the way out, and the purpose of that is so that when I'm spending time in the kitchen, as I like to do when I'm cooking, I can still catch my favorite shows. And then as I'm eating my dinner or finishing and having a glass of wine on the couch, I can move the TV into a new position and continue to watch from all angles. Before I became a homeowner, I didn't think much about lighting. And then when I was going through this project, I realized that lighting is really, really important and can sort of make or break how a home feels in terms of kind of the mood and the overall sentiment. There is this sort of backlit cove lighting that runs all the way from the entry corridor all the way through the living room. The sofa itself was custom made to fit this space. It's quite large, and I was unable to find something without actually having it designed for the space. So it's 4 meters on the longer side. It's about 2.5 meters on the shorter side. I wanted the sofa to be placed against the window in order to create a more open, kind of fluid concept with the space. And so by having it placed against the window, number one, I think it accentuates the windows behind it and really allows that natural light to flow in and serves as a nice backdrop. And then secondly, I think it creates a nice open space with the kitchen. I really like to cook, and so I wanted an open concept kitchen so that I could bring the kitchen together with the living space as opposed to being sort of tucked away in the corner of the house. And I also wanted the dining space and the kitchen space to be together as one, because when I entertain guests and when I cook, I think it's all part of the same experience. And so from that perspective, in terms of the design, what we did is put the travertine table and island right in the middle of the space, which doubles as both a dining table as well as a food preparation space. Because of the layout of the unit itself with the curve at the front, having a normal sort of rectangular kitchen island wasn't really a good option. It actually looked very awkward in that unique space. And so what we did is created the travertine island in such a way that it was a bit tapered at one end and a bit wider at the other end. The dining table has a few different purposes for me. Obviously, I eat at the dining table. I sometimes use it to prepare food when I need more space, but I often use it as a workspace as well. So I think this room with all of the natural light and the open concept is a really pleasant place for me to work. I do like to entertain, and when I have people over, I like to make cocktails as well. And so I wanted the entertaining space to be a focal point of the kitchen. And so I opted for the open bar look in order to display the spirits and the glassware as a broader part of the kitchen space. Because I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, I needed to balance how I could make this space very practical with also how I could make it very design focused. And so for me, having the induction cooktop was very important, and the only option for the induction cooktop was kind of as part of this broader far wall of the kitchen. The back wall of the kitchen is constructed of fluted walnut panels, and it also acts as a sort of concealer for all of the appliances and other kitchen storage. I wanted to make this space visually interesting, and that's why I opted for the fluted wood design. At the same time, going with the minimal concept and the very clean concept of the home, I wanted to make sure that I could hide away some of the storage and appliances that you would normally see in a kitchen. The balcony is separated from the dining area via a set of bifold glass doors. Those doors can be totally closed, which allows the balcony to act as a separate space, or you can open them entirely so that the balcony sort of flows into the kitchen and dining space. In order to conserve some of the original design and sort of retain the elements of how the building has always been, we designed the windows along the facade in sort of a grid-like or lattice-like structure with a matte black metal kind of cutting through the glass. The original unit had this beautiful balcony with these really unique mosaic tiles as part of the original design. However, they were very dirty, very weathered, and so they needed to be restored in order to be retained as part of the new design. The balcony has 2 beautiful wooden chairs. There's a woven aspect to them as well. These are Scandinavian designed, and so they were actually imported from Europe. There's also a beautiful planter at one end of the balcony, and I chose to have this planter because I really wanted to bring some of the greenery and the tropical vegetation inside the unit itself. Behind the planter, we have a sort of glass panel with the matte black wood lattice design as well. The common bathroom is located behind the entryway and has two access points, one from the master bedroom and one from the corridor for easy access for guests. So we chose a micro cement sink countertop to get a little bit of that raw and industrial look into the bathroom. And we also wanted to keep things clean and minimal. And so there's a storage space that's actually hidden behind the mirror in the bathroom as well. As we were going through the design process, we realized it wouldn't be feasible to add a second toilet or to relocate the existing toilet. And so I wanted to make sure that the toilet was accessible from the master bedroom. And for that reason, we added a pocket sliding door so that the toilet can be accessed both from the bedroom as well as from the hallway. As you enter the study, there's this beautiful metal grate structure above the door. This was actually part of the original unit, and so I wanted to make sure that that history and that design was preserved as part of the renovation. So we restored that metal grate. It was painted, it was sort of restored and then placed behind glass to create an interesting, pathway into the study. In the original unit, this room was actually the kitchen, but because I relocated the kitchen to the front of the unit, I decided to make this room into both a study as well as a guest bedroom. So it currently serves as both. The study connects to a spiral staircase in the back, and this is actually a very iconic design element of many of the older Tiong Bahru units. The spiral staircase entrance is currently concealed so that you don't actually know it's there unless you remove the concealed door and head to the back. When you enter the master bedroom, you will notice that there's a cutout for the door so that when you open the door, it actually fits very nicely into that space. The king-size bed has a beautiful stone headboard that's built into the room, and it's the same stone that's used in the master bathroom and the shower behind, so it brings the two spaces together. There's also a beautiful walnut cutout in the middle of the headboard. That sort of serves two purposes. Number one is from a design purpose, it allows me to display items in the room. Number two, it also acts as a storage space and has hidden electrical outlets for me to charge my phone at night. In the master bedroom, I also really wanted to create some symmetry, and so in order to achieve that, we installed these matte black metal poles on either side of the bed. This space was originally the living area in the original unit, but it was quite small and quite dark, and so as we redesigned the layout, I actually wanted to extend the master bedroom and create a full walk-in wardrobe. So this space doubles as both a walk-in wardrobe as well as a shower area for the master. At the top of the wardrobe, I also wanted to install an aircon unit because it gets so hot in Singapore and I wanted to stay cool when I was getting ready in the mornings. And so we have a fluted walnut texture at the top, which allows the aircon to come through and then also fits in seamlessly with the design. So as I thought about the design of the master bathroom, one thing that I really wanted to incorporate was a large, beautiful sink. And so we found this beautiful sort of white and gray stone that we were able to use to construct that sink. And below the sink, we were also able to kind of hide the piping and create a nice storage area for some of the other bathroom items. If you look behind the sink, there's also sort of a narrow niche that doubles as a storage area for some of those smaller toiletry items. So the bathroom itself has a large window which opens up to a light well, and that light well also faces the neighbor's unit. So these units are in very close proximity, and although it lets in this beautiful natural light, it also creates a lack of privacy in the bathroom. So we created a folding mirror above the sink. I think the way this space was designed, in terms of having both kind of traditional elements as well as having modern and new elements, I think it's really well positioned to kind of age alongside me and as I continue to spend time here. At the same time, this is the first property that I've ever owned. And so for me, I think it will always hold a very special place in my heart as first place I've really lived and called my own here in Singapore. For me, a home should be a place where you feel comfortable, where you can relax, you can entertain, and it should also be a reflection, in my opinion, of who you are as a person.